everybody. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I used to be a background actor. And I say used to. I would totally jump at the chance to do it again. Unfortunately, I don't live near a major filming hub anymore. Atlanta is one of the 3 big ones right now, or it was a year ago when I lived near there. Today, I thought that I would talk to you a little bit about being a background actor and my experience. I have so many stories about background acting, so if you want to hear some of the stories, I won't name any celebrity names or speak bad about anybody specifically, but there are some stories. So subscribe, like this video, let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. But first, I thought we'd talk about some of the basics. Oh, you're watching The Christiana 321. I am The Christiana, and today we're talking about background acting. Basically, the way that I got into it, when I was in middle school, or maybe high school, there was one of those ads on the radio for people who wanted to be actors, come audition. And some of the people who have auditioned or been part of this school have gone on to act on Disney and Nickelodeon and all these things. I don't remember the name of the school that I went to. It got me my first background acting gig in a straight-to-TV movie that you may have heard of, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective Jr. Sure, you've heard of the franchise. Not many people know of the Pet Detective Jr. It was very fun. And then I didn't do much acting in college or anything like that. But after I got my bachelor's degree, there was a period of time, about a month, where I was between jobs. I had been already hired for my new job, but my start date wasn't for a little while, and so I was bored. And I found a background gig for a game show. I don't think I'm allowed to say which one. Basically, all shows with studio audiences, almost all shows with studio audiences, pay some of the people who are in the audience. And they do that because they want to make sure that they have all of their seats filled, and if somebody bought a ticket or reserved a spot or whatever and then just didn't show up, you can't be mad. They didn't sign a contract saying that they would be there. People being paid to be there are more or less seat warmers. You may get a good seat, you may get to see a piece of the action, but basically you're getting paid to be available, be there on the day for wherever they need a crowd of people to be. There were a couple of really good shots of me. There were people years later who saw one of my episodes, texted me asking if it was me, if I was there watching that show, and it was, so that's really cool. When you're an extra, whether it's for a game show or for really any of the productions I've been on, there's long periods of time where you're just sitting around waiting for them to set up a shot, waiting for the lighting to be just right, waiting for whatever. I don't always know what they're doing on set while I'm just sitting around being available. A lot of times we would become friends, at least for the day, strike up conversation with the people around you. And so on this first game show that I was on, I was in the audience, I was not a participant. On this first game show, I became friends with one of the women sitting next to me in the bleachers. She was retired. She did background acting to supplement her retirement income, and she gave me a list of all these Facebook groups and Facebook companies where they post legit background acting gigs. And so from there, I applied to basically anything that I thought I was qualified for, and along the way I learned a few things, so I thought it would be good to share them with you. Number one, if you are being a background actor, ask yourself why before you start applying. If you are joining the background world because you want to pursue acting and get bigger roles, speaking roles, main character roles, being a background actor isn't enough. It's great. It's a wonderful first step because it lets you see how a set works. It shows you what some of the different roles are. It gives you some experience because you sit around for long periods of time and you can kind of watch and see the different interactions between director and actors and lighting person and PAs. PAs run the show. They run the show under the direction of the director, but really PAs know everything and they're the ones that get the stuff done. So if you want to become a full-time actor, not just background acting, going out for roles, having experience on set is always going to be a good thing. It is going to show that you have initiative, that you have an understanding of how set works, that you have probably a little bit of humility, being able to step into what is one of the, there's no small roles, but one of the small roles, the non-speaking roles. So from background acting, then in those same kind of worlds, they'll also post for people to be photo doubles or stand-ins, or there's a couple of other things that are one step up from background acting, but there are much fewer opportunities for those roles. If you are a really good photo double or a really good stand-in for a particular actor or actress, then it's more likely for you to get recurring gigs as that person's stand-in. So there was a different game show that I was on that I was sat next to, I believe, Scarlett Johansson, one of her photo doubles for whenever they're filming in Atlanta. She wasn't the first person, but if the first person was sick, she was, I think, second or third in line for standing in for ScarJo. And so I got to hear a little bit of her story. Get to be a background actor, then you're in the world where you might get opportunities to be a double or maybe a one-line background actor or a stand-in. But generally they won't even look at your application unless you already have some time on set as a background actor or as somebody else, a PA or somebody else who works on a film set. It also gets you in the world to potentially get an agent or a manager. Again, having set experience will raise you in their eyes and they can help you get those speaking roles or other things. And I know depending on what city you're in, what state you're in, there are different rules, especially when it comes to unions. If you are only interested in being in the background, no speaking parts, then you don't really need to worry about the union. Occasionally you'll see a post requesting union only or no union. It just depends on the set, but most of the time they don't specify. But if you are just doing it as a side gig or to supplement your income, as a way to get out of the house, meet people, talk to people, that's kind of what I was doing. The gas it took to drive to it and from Atlanta was usually pretty close to what my paycheck was for the day, so it was not really an income stream for me. It was more just a fun experience and a way to like meet people I wouldn't normally meet, like ScarJo's stand-in. I say ScarJo like we're friends. We're not. I've never met her. Not her stand-in. So some things to keep in mind if you are interested in the world of background acting. There are major hubs where it will be much easier to find roles, and that's places like Atlanta, Vancouver, LA. But there are other hubs. Chicago, New York, St. Louis, New Orleans, any of the big cities have film companies that go there. New York probably more than any of the others. Might even be considered a hub, but they're more stagey people there. But the best thing to do is to find companies in that area. Like I said, whenever I was going through, most of it was through Facebook and meeting somebody who had done it a lot and getting advice for that area from her of who to trust and who not to trust. Big things are, they're never going to ask you to pay. If you are applying for a role and like, yeah, just give me money for headshots and money for this and money for that. No, if you're just doing a background thing, they're going to pay you. You don't pay them. If they're asking for money, it's a scam. The first one I did as an adult, the game show, was in this like farm outside of Atlanta, and you had to go down all of these weird roads, and it was looking a little sketchy. It wasn't, like, everything was fine. It was legit. I think my highest paid rate. It was all downhill money-wise since then. I was a little bit worried. At that point, I didn't know anybody in the extra world that I could talk to, and so I was just going off of a Facebook post that I saw. So things that I did to stay safe, I let people know where I was going, and when I was going to check in by, I think it was my parents at the time, but anytime I was going to a new set, I had a check-in with a friend or family member just to make sure, because you can be as safe as possible, but things happen. Especially, there were a lot of shoots that were in downtown Atlanta, and some of the places were a little bit scary. There's one, I think the only time I did a night shoot was downtown Atlanta, and we had to park our car in a like lot that's pretty far away from set, and then they bussed us over to where we were shooting. And the first night, somebody's car got broken into. So they do what they can to make it safe. Like, I think that they had somebody watching the area, or there were cameras or whatever, but no matter how safe you are, if you're in downtown Atlanta, after a certain time, there's a certain amount of risk. Don't bring anything valuable with you to set. Don't leave anything valuable in your car as much as you can help it. Things that you should bring with you to set: snacks. So every set, if it is longer than, I think, 8 hours, I forget the exact time. If it's longer than a certain amount of time though, they have to feed you. And different sets, some are amazing, like Michelin star. I would 10 out of 10 go back again, even if they weren't paying me to be on set. Some of them were products that they just, went to Costco, and snacks that they could buy in bulk. Still delicious. Still a great perk of the job. You get some free snacks. But I like to bring some stuff just in case that I knew that I was going to like. Occasionally something healthy. I don't go overboard with it. I would bring just like a handful of snacks that I could eat quickly without creating too much mess or garbage. Next thing that you'll want to pack in your bag is something to do that's not on your phone. Your phone might die. Bring a charger. That's the next thing. Bring a charger for your phone. There won't be a whole lot of outlets usually, but sometimes you get lucky. Some sets though won't let you have your phone out at all. They don't want you taking pictures that could spoil the show. They don't want you, especially like the game shows that I was on, they were very strict. No phones. They don't want you accidentally leaking winners or anything substantial. So if they saw your phone, you were out. And if it was before a certain point in the day, you weren't getting paid. If they tell you to put your phone away, put your phone away. Sometimes you can have it out because the holding area, there's nothing for you to spoil, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes they tell you ahead of time, and sometimes they don't. So it's always good to have a backup, non-digital activity. I normally would bring a book, but there were also people who would bring knitting. There is this one woman who was making an area rug out of used, discarded sheets, like fabric sheets for your bed. In the extra holding area, wherever it happens to be, or if you're on a game show and you're sitting out in the bleachers all day, you'll get to know the people around you and you talk to them. But at a certain point in the day, you kind of run through all your small talk, or maybe the people that you've been talking to got called to do their part on set, and I don't know, if I'm just sitting around talking to people all day, I get really tired. I'm an introvert. what can I say? I do recommend having at least some option that isn't your phone. Also, whenever you respond to the Facebook message, usually you email whatever email's there. They'll ask for certain information. Be honest. It's not the time to lie about your weight or your height or whatever, because they're trying to get the right mix of background people, the right vibes for their main actors. They don't want somebody who is too similar or too different from them. Maybe they have too many people that are your specific height and weight, and so they're trying to find some others. You might get rejected because of the information that you provide, but if you lie about the information, you show up on set and you don't match what they needed you for, it's gonna be a problem, and you're probably not gonna get paid, and you might get blacklisted and not be allowed to act for that company ever again. Don't get blacklisted. Give them the information. They'll also usually request 2 to 3 photos in the body of the Facebook post. Sometimes they're very specific as to what they're looking for in the photos. They want to see that you have a grunge look or a homeless look or a unique look. If they specify in there, do that. Do whatever it is that they ask for. If they just ask for 2 to 3 photos, you want to do 1 headshot, like shoulders up. You want to do 1 full body shot. If they want 3 photos, then normally that's 1 that's like around the knees up, and then 1 that is feet up. Sometimes they want a side profile. But the key is, unless they've specifically asked you for a look, you want to be a blank slate. So a blank wall for your background, nothing busy like this, a solid color shirt, tank top, short sleeve, that's fine. White or gray would be ideal. This color purple would probably be fine, but you don't want to do anything that would sway the director or whoever is doing the photo pics away from you. You want to be just a blank canvas that they can put their character on top of you and see that it would work. Like I said, sometimes you know that they're looking for a specific look, and sure, go all out for that. But if there's nothing specific that you can go off of from the posting, you want to be as plain as possible. Don't be overly excited, don't be overly smiley. Even your expression should be blank. That's what worked the best for me. Be honest, be a blank slate, apply for as many posts as you think you qualify for, and be honest. Again, like, don't be applying for someone who looks like a teenager if you know that you don't look like a teenager, because if you do that too much, you're just going to annoy the casting people, and every time they see your face, they're just going to associate you with the, oh, here's that person who just applies for everything again. Probably doesn't actually fit this character either. Even if, you know, it may have been a really good character for you. They'll have that preconceived bias in their head if you've already shown up on their desk too many times for a role that has nothing to do with your vibe. These are all real stories and real advice that I've gotten from the casting people, the casting directors, the background casting directors. Honestly, I could go on and on. We are already at 25 minutes of filming. I don't know, hopefully I've been able to cut this down because I went off on some tangents and repeated myself, I'm sure. But I do have so many fun, more specific stories that I haven't shared yet today. If you have any questions about background acting, I did TV, I did movies, I did straight to TV movies, did game shows, I did a little bit of a lot of different things. If you have any questions about any of it, just let me know. Ask in the comments below. If you'd like to hear some of my background stories, subscribe. I will absolutely love to share some more with you. If you subscribed because of the Little Libraries video I made last week or a couple weeks ago, don't worry, I've got more bookish vlogs coming. I just like to mix it up every now and then. If you are a new subscriber, introduce yourself. I would love to get to know you, and I said that I was going to stop talking, so I'm going to stop talking now. I've been trying for a little while to stick to a Tuesday, Thursday upload schedule. So far, so good. Knock on wood. I'll see you on Thursday. Good night. Sweet dreams.